Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me that I might know you're mine. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Come, sing a song with me. The Reverend Michael Tino once said that through this song, we confront the complex reality that something can be both insipid and profound simultaneously. Many cherish this song, and many loathe this song. Carolyn McDade, who wrote this song, wrote it as a sweet song, and it changed. It changed when she brought it into a women's prison in Framingham, Massachusetts in the 1980s. She thought to teach this to the women incarcerated there because it was a simple song to learn. But the way those women sang the lines, "I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. Come, dream a dream with me." The context of the women's prison changed the song, and it changed Carolyn McDade. There is an invitation here to let the context in which we sing open our minds and widen our hearts. There's an invitation here to sing as if words sung have the power to change us, to change our neighbor, to change the world. The Catholic Saint Augustine is often quoted as saying, "They who sing praise twice." So as we hear this song played differently throughout this worship service and throughout this series, may we remember the power of music to open our minds, to widen our hearts, to change us, and to change the world.
As we bring to life this chalice, this symbol of Unitarian Universalism, we offer a flicker of light and a hint of warmth to invite you in and gather by. Welcome, neighbor, one who by definition dwells near and or grows and flourishes alongside. First, I want to acknowledge our physical neighbors, and first and foremost, those who were here, who are here still, from whom the land was stolen. Here in southeast Arizona, that would be the Otham, the Apata, the Pasquayaki, and the Chiricahua Apache. Take a moment to acknowledge your indigenous neighbors. I also want to honor those who live right across the street or down the hall, who might show up if we lost our key, who might bring us comfort and food in a time of change, sorrow, and joy. And I invite you to reach out, as human beings have for centuries, across time and space, through songs and poems, letters and books, on the stage, in sanctuaries, through the big screen and small. I invite you, from wherever you are and whenever you are, from your spot into ours. May you be seen here. May you be heard here. May you be understood here. May we all see more clearly, perceive more deeply, understand much wider visions of this world, because you are here, because we all gather here to listen. Welcome, neighbor, and come nigh.
Once upon a time, there were two rivers flowing side by side. These two rivers liked to argue about who was the best. "The water in my river is better than the water in your river," said one of them. No, The water in my river is much better than the water in your river, said the other. The two rivers would flow along all day, arguing about which river was the best. Both were quite sure they were the greatest. Doesn't my water make a joyful noise as it runs over the smooth, polished pebbles on my bottom? And look at the way the sun reflects off the ripples and eddies that form around the granite boulders at my edge. These things are so beautiful. Surely I am the best river, said the first. The other river replied, but look at the fish that swim in my clear, cool water. And have you heard the frogs singing at night? They live in the roots and the leaves that line my banks. I am home to so many wonderful creatures. Surely I must be the very best river. The two continued to argue until one day they rounded a bend, slid down a small fall, and suddenly saw that they were flowing towards something much, much larger than themselves. Up ahead were big crashing waves and water everywhere as far as they could see. They continued to rush faster and faster until the water from both rivers churned together into the vast, enormous ocean. The rivers looked behind them and realized how foolish they had been for arguing about who was the best. There's no highest and no lowest, no greatest or least. All things are one, and all are joined together like rivers in the sea.
Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all our visions, with friends we could make such sweet harmony. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
It has really been quite a year, and there is so much coming at us so fast that I wanted to take some time to offer some grounding, centering, and embodiment practices over the next couple weeks as we are caught up in this swirl of news moving faster and faster. And I use embodiment and grounding practices for myself regularly so that I can stay present with what's happening and stay in connection with people. The images that I was drawn to for this morning's exercise is about rain. Rain in the desert and rain wherever it is that you're joining us for worship. So if you'd like to join me for the next few minutes in following along with those images, or if you'd like to take this time to just take some deep breaths and notice how your body is feeling in this moment. Either way, we're going to start with a few breaths. So feeling your spine or your feet resting on the floor or your chair, Noticing that connection. Can you remember how it smells when rain falls in the desert? Or wherever you live, what does rain smell like? As a child, I loved the smell of rain on hot asphalt. What does it smell like when it rains? What does it feel like when the rain is coming and the air is humid? For better or for worse, it changes the air. And that humidity is something we can remember with our skin. And imagining the droplets of rain falling onto the earth and soaking in. Feeling some of that settling energy in your body and receiving the nourishment and renewing and clearing energy of rain.
Well, it's good to be together again. I'm so glad that we're starting a new theme, and I'm so grateful that you all came to Mountain Vista last week. And I know this coming theme that we're going to do is on being a neighbor. And this month and into next month, we get to have lots of neighbors visiting us. So I know, Bethany, who are you bringing along?
On October 18th, we're hearing from the soon-to-be Reverend Anthony Johnson, who's talking to us about democracy through his eyes. He's an African-American man and is going to talk to us about how he sees democracy. Matthew, what about the next week after that?
That week, we are welcoming Alex Capitan, who is the co-leader of Transforming Hearts Collective. I wanted to make sure I got that right. And Zay will be talking to us about engaging radical belonging. Tina?
And on November 1st, I get to host Janine Gelsinger of UU Jazz, UU Justice Arizona, talking about the spirituality of voting.
Yay. So we have people coming into our neighborhood. And I know that we were excited about this theme because we're playing with that word neighbor and we're kind of pulling it apart. And its delicious roots actually suggest that we are drawing near, to come near to someone, or as Tina told us, to grow near someone or something. So what are each of us growing towards? Where are each of us drawing near to? I'm curious. What about you, Matthew?
Thank you for starting with me, but it's challenging right now. We're just hearing, very similar to the last time we sat together this way, we're hearing about Border Patrol's raiding of No More Deaths camp, their humanitarian aid camp out in the desert. And I'm finding a lot of anger about that, and I don't like that about myself. I'm really challenged by it, and what it's doing, and why I feel like it's a place, and Border Patrol is who I'm drawing near, is because it's challenging me to understand belonging. And I'm playing with the word a bit, but to be, and Thich Nhat Hanh teaches that is to interbe. We are interwoven with others in order to just exist. And that it also comes with a longing, a yearning to deepen those relationships. I think that's what our faith is about. It's becoming more and more of that in these last number of months, for me at least. And that's very challenging then, to look at the callousness that Border Patrol is expressing. They're tweeting out what they are doing and not treating it as if they are wounding people. And so I have to exist in that. I have to be in that relationship, and to yearn for more from it. It makes me wonder if they aren't wounded as well, Border Patrol, if this action doesn't hurt them deeply at the same time. And that does help me begin to draw near to Border Patrol agents who planned and carried this out.
That has to be hard, Matthew, that drawing near those who are different, those who might even deny your own humanity or the humanity of others you care about. The work of Valerie Kaur, her Sikh spirituality, informs my own about tending to the wounds and wondering, as you were saying, about that other, getting ourselves to draw near, to see their humanity and not lose our own, right? And when I think about the word Samaritan, okay, so for me, this story, the idea of neighbor, I cannot but go back to my Christian roots and think about who is my neighbor, which is posed in Luke and in the story of the Good Samaritan. And we think of that name as it's a positive title, oh, you're such a good Samaritan. But in actual fact, in Jesus' time, a Samaritan was a believer of a slightly twisted version of your own faith, someone you weren't close to, someone you wouldn't have reached out to or trusted, perhaps like Border Patrol. And in this time for me, I've been struggling, like you, to reach out towards those who are difficult neighbors, difficult to get close to. And that story itself, I realized. So the story of the Good Samaritan, many of you know it. A person has been set upon by thieves. He's lying by the side of the road, and many people pass. Jesus tells the story because a scholar asks, who's my neighbor? And expects an easy answer. Somebody who's Hebrew, someone who believes like you, someone who studies with you. And Jesus tells the story about everyone passing the hurt man on the road to Jericho. Even religious professionals who don't have time to stop because it would have made them unclean. Maybe this was a dead body, who knows? And the one person who stops is that Border Patrol agent, the one you would not expect, the one you would not like, who stops, takes him to an inn, pays for his care, takes care of him. So it's a challenging story. It pushes us. And I realize that story has changed me. One day I was driving to Tombstone, where I used to work at a church, and I saw a member of my congregation, and sort of a difficult member, broken down by the side of the road. And I had someone meeting me at the church. There was no way that person was going to answer a phone call at church. She didn't have a cell phone. I finally figured out there was a neighbor across the street I could get to go and tell her, because I had to stop and help him because of that story. So what are the stories of being changed by drawing near, by neighboring, that is difficult? What are those stories that have changed you? And what has changed you? Who are you drawing near to now, Bethany?
Tina, that question of, who am I drawing near to and who are you being changed by is resonating with me recently. I'll start the story by sharing an anecdote from my time when I worked in Concord, Massachusetts, which is a suburb of Boston. It's very, very racially homogenous, 95% white. I wouldn't be surprised if it was more, higher percent. And there was a couple in town, a gay couple who were raising Black and brown children. And we were having some type of forum and learning about their experience of race in that town, raising children in this very white town. And someone asked, how is it raising your children in this town? And they say, we spend as little of our free time as we can here. We take our children into places where people of color are in power, where they're giving lectures, where they're the leads in dances, where they're in performances. We take our children and bring them to places where people whose skin looks similar to theirs are leading, to show our children that they too are leaders. And that story has stuck with me. And as I'm thinking about it as we're inviting these neighbors the next few weeks, because I've made a commitment the last 6, 7, 8 months to only listen to, which is the way I usually take in books, only listen to books by authors of color. And it's been a change I've noticed is that I'm sometimes surprised that they're not centering my experience, that they're not speaking directly to my experience as a white lady, a white woman. There was one particular experience where the author was describing her interactions with the medical system, of not being believed, of being told that different things were happening to her body than were actually happening. And I didn't resonate with that experience. I said, this is not true. This is not my experience, until I realized that actually she was speaking not necessarily to my white woman experience. I have a piece of it, but not entirety of my white woman experience, but the experience of women of color in our medical system. So I feel like I'm at a very beginner stage of centering voices of people of color where I can in my life, so that I can learn how my expectations of my own identity being centered harms me and harms our world.
Wow. Well, I mean, I think one thing that I feel connected to with your story, Bethany, is that it's intentional, like the work is intentional. So I've been thinking about our principles at a time when I think so many of us are like, well, where do I ground myself right now? Like, how do I respond to what's going on around me? And I've found myself really drawn to one of our principles about the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Because we're about to do this neighbor theme. We are on the search for truth, which at this point in time, the search for truth has a certain significance and weight in our culture right now. And so here we are choosing very particular neighbors to listen to in the next couple months. And we're doing that really intentionally. And we're doing that I think in the vein of the free and responsible search. When I look at that phrase, I think what we might get stuck on is that free and responsible means somehow that I have to weigh every single thing equally. Like I have to go hear every single perspective, give every perspective equal time, let the information wash over me. If I'm not taking in information, then somehow I'm not being a responsible citizen. And I can see how so many of us are just getting glazed over by that idea. And I think what I want to suggest, and I've been thinking about a feminist philosopher, Kelly Oliver, that I love. She takes that word responsible and she breaks it up into 2 words. So she says response and able. That responsibility is about becoming able to respond to something. So when I think about the neighborhood we're moving into, it's not about hearing every single phrase that gets screamed out in the din. What we're actually trying to do is we're trying to invite in neighbors and draw near to stories that are actually going to equip us as Unitarian Universalists to respond. So we're not just getting information for information's sake so that we're well-informed people. We're actually saying we're going to value and select and choose and draw near the stories, the people, the truths that help us build something. And it's not just the neighborhood as it exists. We're actually trying to build a better neighborhood. And that requires us to draw near and to listen and to do things differently so that we become response-able people. So I'm excited that we're drawing near together. I'm excited that we're not gonna give the microphone to more harm. I'm excited that we're gonna give the microphone of this platform that we are co-creating together to people and to ideas and to organizations that are gonna help all of us become responsible in the truest sense towards a neighborhood that is actually one where people grow and thrive and experience the equity and justice that I know each of us believe in. So onward to that neighborhood, huh?
Amen.
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 Stories of action. It's a recognition that our congregations, we do more than call one another into these times. We are acting. We are already doing things in these times. And it's a pleasure today to share with you what's happening here at Borderlands UU. Come on, I'll show you. Since late last spring, we've been fundraising and working hard to install a washer and a dryer. While these everyday appliances may not seem like much, to us, they are justice in action. And our first success with the Accompaniment Project. The Accompaniment Project is a new program for our congregation. It's an opportunity for us to partner with the 5 direct humanitarian aid groups here in southern Arizona, from the Ajo and Tucson and Green Valley Sahuarita Samaritans to People Helping People out in Aravaca, and of course, No More Deaths. We've made contacts and we've listened about how we can share our building and our resources with them to help better meet their needs as they meet people out in the desert, border crossers, migrants who need aid. And what we've heard is that these groups need help doing laundry. Lots and lots of laundry. And so with the generous aid of many people, we were able to gather the resources, install a washer and dryer, and realize a deeper partnership with these groups and with our community. It really is our story of action.
Somebody's hurting my brother, and it's gone on far too long. Yes, it's gone on far too long. Yes, it's gone on far too long. I said somebody's hurting my brother, and it's gone on far too long, and we won't be silent anymore. This song was written by activist and musician Yara Allen, who wrote this song as a protest against pollution from a coal factory that was infiltrating an African American neighborhood. And it has gone on to become a part of the Poor People's Campaign and is a good reminder to us to stand up for our neighbors, stand up for our siblings, stand up for our families and friends, and for the causes that we believe in. So, this is participatory. Your part is to sing, "It's gone on far too long." So I will say, "Somebody's hurting my sister," and you sing, "And it's gone on far too long." I say something, "Gone on far too long." Yes, it's gone on far too long. Then I say, "Somebody's hurting my sister," and you say, "It's gone on far too long, and we won't be silent anymore." And we are very firm when we say, "We won't be silent anymore." Let's practice. Somebody's hurting my sister, and it's gone on far too long. It's gone on far too long. It's gone on far too long. My turn. Somebody's hurting my sister, and it's gone on far too long, and we won't be silent anymore. Yeah? Good work. Let's sing. Let's go. We're going to sing this time, "Somebody's Hurting My Family." Here we go. Somebody's hurting my family, and it's gone on far too long. Yes, it's gone on far too long. I said gone on far too long. Somebody's hurting my family, and it's gone on far too long, and we won't be silent anymore. Somebody's hurting our children, and it's gone on far too long. It's gone on far too long. It's gone on far too long. Somebody's hurting our children, and it's gone on far too long, and we won't be silent anymore. Somebody's poisoning the water, and it's gone on far too long. Yes, it's gone on far too long. It's gone on far too long. Somebody's poisoning the water, and it's gone on far too long, and we won't be silent anymore. Somebody's hurting my family, and it's gone on far too long. It's gone on far too long. It's gone on far too long. Somebody's hurting our family, and it's gone on far too long, and we won't be silent anymore. And we won't be silent anymore. And we won't be silent anymore. Go vote. Go do good things in your community.
You ready to close our service? Okay. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, 'cause I love your mind. Should we blow it out?